Okay, fine. Now, this is the already known programs only. This is about if else or the decision making controls. Only if, or we want to go for if else, or we want to go for if else ladder, if else if ladder. There are more scenarios, more cases, not just if else. So in that way, what I will do is just for the billing, electricity billing calculation, bill calculation has a formula for that. Like if somebody consumes less than 100, just will be multiplying with some 50% for that. But if it is consumed more, like between less than 200, if the bill is less than 200, so what will be done? So we have a calculation. That means the bill amount is calculated initially with the whatever units you consume. Like 99 units will be calculated with 0.5, that 50%, plus the remaining one. That means the remaining one was the units minus the 99, whatever is left over will be calculated with some other amount. We don't know exactly, I don't know the values right now. So like calculation has a formula for it. So if you have consumed 123, out of 123 units, 99 is calculated with 50%. Remaining 24 units will be calculated with 75%. So that would be your total bill consumed, bill calculated. So like this, we can write a list and another criteria. So whatever criteria is there, you can mention one after the other. This is one simple thing. So once you write all the conditions, the last one you can put it in else. You can put any criteria right now. So whatever the different slab rates you can mention. At last you can give the last calculation. Just think if I want to take 10 question, let us try that. Question. Okay, for a shopping of 3,000 and above, 3,000 and above, or just like 3,000, up to 3,000, we have a discount of 500 discount. And if it is up to 5,000, more than 3,000, 3,000 to 5,000, so what is the discount here is some 1,000 rupees for any voucher. I'm just giving the rough figure here, otherwise in the real time we'll have some very less discount. So it is above 5,000. We'll have some 2,000 discount. So how will we do this flow? Bill. Should accept the total bill of the user. How will you do this program right now? To find out the total bill of the user, how much he has to be payable on. So what was the actual total bill? Whatever products he added, based on that we'll get some bill. So like I'm just saying that enter the total bill. So after that, what should we do to get the correct answer? I want to calculate the payable bill. How would you find it? Can anybody tell me this code? Can anybody of you can tell this code? We'll try to execute that. Discount is simple as it is 3,500, if it is 5,000, it is 1,000, if it is above 5,000, any amount, it is 2,000. Can anybody tell the proof now? No? Are you able to hear me? Am I audible to all of you? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so can anybody give this
Please
answer?
repeat the question.
Yeah, I need to find the total bill. Find the total payable bill on the purchase document
Okay.
amount with the following the criteria. There will be the discount rates given. These are the discount rates given for us. 3,000, we have this much discount. For 5,000, for above 5,000, 2,000 discount. See, real payments will do. If you want later, we can just see some
We'll
short
use
and big.
the if else condition here.
Yeah, so how will you write the code? So I wrote the
Sorry.
first line. I wrote the first line for you. Can you tell the remaining program?
Okay. So if total bill is equal to or less than 3,000,
Is equal to
3,000
less
less than
than
or equal to 3,000.
1,000.
And next line indented indentation के बाद
Let me write it on the idle only. That shell itself.
hello.
Yeah, I'll write it in the shell. That is then only we can correct. Then I have to calculate this bill right. Initially the bill is payable bill is 0. I have to calculate it. So what should I do?
Ma'am, yeah. So we have to say payable bill plus equals to something like that. I forgot the formula actually.
Payable bill
Payable bill equals to pay. Yeah, ma'am.
500 discount on the total.
Yeah. So we first have to sum up the entire numbers that we have given in the input, and then we have to subtract
That
that
is total
with
bill.
5.
This is the total bill. I don't know you got 2,500 purchase. So your
And your
purchase
voice
amount,
is big.
yeah, your purchase amount is 2,500. Suppose. So
Okay.
your,
Right. So then, payable bill equals to total bill minus 500.
yeah, that's it. So total bill minus
500. And then we'll use the if else condition.
L if and if. Okay.
Total bill less than equal to whatever amount that you have mentioned. I guess 2,000.
Should I do that or it should be more than 3,000 in two conditions?
Yes, and the next line payable bill equals to total bill minus.
We should be mentioning this also actually. Then only it's a correct program.
But we don't have to mention this explicitly because if the first condition fails, it automatically knows
Yeah,
that it is more than
yeah,
2,000.
this is the scenario. But just assume that if you have shuffled the conditions, somebody has shuffled the conditions. If you're saving these conditions in some other location, condition one, condition two, and if you change the order of the conditions, will your program give correct answer? See, whatever we write, it should be irrespective of the order. Whether I write this condition first, that condition first, any order. We should not think about the order every time. My condition should be proper. So, whenever we write, we should take care that it should not be just less than 5,000. If it is above 3,000 and less than or equal to 5,000,
Less than or equal to 3.
it's more than 3,000.
With, sorry, greater than or equal to 3,000. It
Yeah,
is
yes.
okay, right, right. I'm sorry. My bad. It's right. Then
Just
the next line will payable bill minus the discount amount, and then we can print.
printing will do last because if I start printing, I have to write three times printing statement. I don't have to know. Let me follow the calculation after computation is done. At last, we can do the printing. Total payable bill, whatever it will calculate according to the scenario. And we'll put the value here, the payable. Is that clear? So that means here I'll do the complete criteria. Calculations will mention. If you purchase this much amount, this is the discount. If you purchase this amount, this is the discount. We'll mention the whole formula here. Now I have only three discounts. For 3,000, for 5,000 and rest all comes in one category. So the payable bill will be this minus 2,000. Here also, if you want to be very specific, you have to say it should be more than 0 and the total bill should be less than. So I cannot just assume that less than 3,000. If the bill is negative by mistake, something happens, no? You get some vouchers or this and that. Sometimes. So always be specific about the conditions. It should never go wrong. Whatever you enter, it should be between this range. More than 0 and less than this amount. Then we'll apply this to it. So it will either go for this calculation or it will go for this calculation or this one, but not all. Your amount cannot fall in all the three categories. It will be in category 1 or category 2 or third category. So once category is found, calculation is done, and after doing all, we'll bring this bill. Is that clear? My total bill is 2,500. If I take a purchase of 4,000, my bill is minus
Suggestion
1,000.
for the program.
Sorry?
I have a correction in the program.
Yeah, can you just tell that?
Ma'am, here you have mentioned that total bill if it is greater than 0. So we can put try and accept condition here. If by mistake you enter a negative integer, it will throw an error.
Yeah, that is exception handling actually. We'll do that also. And here also, it
Ma'am,
is
here we can use if else condition for that.
no, for exception handling, no, for
No,
exception
no,
handling.
directly if else condition without using exceptional handling. If total bill is less than 0, then print error invalid number or
Okay.
invalid input.
If total bill is less than 0, then we can just mention that it's an invalid bill. And second sentence, we can put in a elif right. Okay. More than something, at least 2,500, more than 2,000. For every purchase, maybe I just want that if you're purchasing minimum 1,000 to 3,000, then only I should give this discount. Just for every purchase, I cannot give 500 discount. Real time, you have to see later. I just very randomly gave this rule. Okay. So whatever is the shopping malls or the shopping criteria, according to that, we have to write the code. Is that clear? You can check this practical. So if I give 200, will I get any discount? What is it giving right now? It's giving a wrong answer actually. When the bill amount is 200, it's giving minus 1800.
For that, if you're mentioning 1000 here, we can put if total bill is less than 0 or total bill is less than 1000 rupees, invalid bill or discount not applied.
Yeah. So
We
one
can
more
correct it in
condition.
the first sentence. No, no, ma'am. We can use or logic here.
Okay. Or
Or if total bill is less than 100, sorry, 1000, less than 1000.
no discount. But see, this was for invalid bill. This was
Yeah.
discount not applicable. Two different scenarios, no? I can't group it
Okay.
together. This is for invalid
Okay.
amount. One more, we
Okay.
mention it for the no discount. So no discount condition is one more. And the total bill is given as less than 1,000. So we just mention the no discount. And we just don't have to print it. Payable amount is equal to total. That is important. Payable bill is nothing but the same as the total bill you have. Okay. So if I took some 150 purchase, my total bill is Now discount and 250. You have to adjust. See, you want to write a more realistic program, you have to write it properly. Check with all the conditions. Okay, let me say 1200. I got a discount. So you can write more comfortable. Okay, is this clear? If I mention a wrong value, that's a negative value. By mistake, they entered minus and just entered invalid bill, and we should not get this message at that scenario. Total payable bill. Huh? If it is this, I should say no bill. It's an invalid bill. I should not say payable bill is zero. Anything. See, we have to follow the real time scenarios.
You can
Any
use
more?
a exit command in the first if condition statement, right?
There's
If
no,
the bill is invalid, exit.
yeah,
Do
it
not
will not,
continue.
it will not exit actually in real time. See, whenever they're entering the amounts, it will show a message on the screen. It will never exit
But
the
we can't
app,
use
no?
break statement in if with if,
No,
right?
no break. It should just come with a message only, no? If the employee is entering the wrong number by mistake. App will not close, no? It will not exit. App will be still running with a wrong message on the screen. First, it will show this amount on the screen, this message on the screen.
Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
Okay. If he enters an invalid amount, the program cannot close no, suddenly. If the
Yeah.
employee enters minus 30 rupees, will it close automatically? No, exit will
Yes.
not happen like that. It should show some message. So in this scenario, it is showing invalid bill. Okay, if it is invalid bill, else, like think, else scenario. I'm writing again this another else. Like if it's an invalid bill, only this message should be shown. Otherwise, what I'm trying to show, this whole part is inside the second head. Let me understand that. Now just observe nested difference. If they entered a wrong message,
We have to use else treatment here, right? We can
yes,
directly equate the payable bill with total bill and say invalid bill.
yeah. But when I will get the payable bill, when I have purchased something, when I didn't purchase by mistake, they
But
entered a
ma'am,
wrong.
I'm talking about the first statement, first if statement where you have put another else statement there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can remove it and directly say payable bill equals to total bill, which is not valid.
Okay. So this up to you how you want to write. What I wanted to do here is, if the employee enters a wrong number, negative number, I just want to show the message that invalid bill. I don't want to say that payable amount is zero. I don't want to show that amount. If it's minus 34, should I show minus 34? No, I should just bring this message and come out. I wanted to show this message. If he enters a valid number more than zero, then I should show any of these cases. Means when will I show this message on the screen if there is no proper bill? Bill is having an invalid amount. So that time I will just show this message, not an amount. I will not talking about an amount bill because amount is invalid. I can't say that payable amount is minus 34. So first if is for failure case, else is for the success case. Because in success there are categories, discount categories. If the bill is this much, this is the category. Is that so? We are calculating the amount to be payable. He has purchased something, valid amount. For that valid amount, discount calculation is given. After discount calculation is completed, we have just given the total payable bill on the screen. So in this scenario, what happens here? This indents have to correct right now. That means everything should be in a right indent. Therefore, it's up to you how you want the program should run. It's your wish. It's like application's wish. I want when the user is entering the wrong values, negative values, I should not show a message saying that your payable amount is negative value. Should I show that negative values on the screen? Can I show negative values on payable list? So if I am entering some wrong value by mistake, so I should just say that invalid bill. This is not a proper bill. But if he enters something proper, If he is purchasing any amount, so if I'm getting 250 or 250, I have to pay the whole amount, no discount applicable. So same way, if I ended up, okay, 4,000 or 5,200, so I get 2,000 discount. So it's working properly. Okay, I'll give you some realistic programs to work. So once you solve these assignments, one or two lengthy programs I'll give you, realistic programs. First is electricity billing, which is a lengthy and a realistic program. You have to tally your units consumed and then you have to calculate the bill. For that, you have to study. You can find out in the internet or you can find out with your parents
Can you
also.
please tell me again what you just said about the electricity
Electricity bill, like how will they calculate the electricity bill? So if I take my bill units are 500 units, I consume this one. How is the calculation done? There's a formula for that actually. So those people who are consuming very less, 50, 60, 70, 90 units, they'll have very less bill. As the units are increasing, the bill also will increase huge amount. It's not just multiplied by 50 paisa. It will not take same multiplication. Same amount will not be multiplied. It will go on increasing. As the units are increasing, the amount also multiplied with a higher units, higher rate of calculation. So like if 100 units will be calculated with 50 paisa, next 100 units will be calculated with 70 paisa, next 100 units will be calculated with 1 rupee. So if a person consumes 325 units, so first 100 will be calculated with 50 paisa, second 100 will be calculated with 75, third 300 units will be, third 100 units will be consumed with, calculated with 1 rupee. Next will be 2 rupees with a very higher rate. So it's not just multiplied units with 50%, not like that. Calculation formula is there. Okay. I think all of you are aware of billing. If you're not known about that, I'll give you the hint. Otherwise, you can find out in net directly. How to calculate an electricity bill in India. You can find out that easy. What is the slab formula calculation? You get it. Okay. You can find that and tax rates also. How is the tax rates calculated? You can do some research on that. Based on income, if you are an employee in a company, how much tax you have to pay depends upon your income actually. If your income is very low, the person who is very low income group, he will never have to pay any tax. Beyond some amount, if it's like 2.5, 3.5 lakhs or 5 lakhs above, then they will ask you to pay some taxes. Companies, how much they are getting income. Based on that company, commercial, they will also have to pay taxes for the incomes. So if the income is only 10 lakhs per month, there is no tax to be paid, or very less tax to be paid. If your income is 1 till 1 crore, 10 lakhs to 1 crore per month, then your tax rates are very high. It won't be the same simple rate of tax. Rates will change as per the income is increasing. As your income is increasing, rates will also increase. Is that clear? So this is all about business actually, not about total. But once you study that business logic, then we have to convert that into a program. Like if you go for some, for finding out tax, if you're going to some company or the auditor, they will just calculate your amount and give you the answer. Through an app only, they will not do manually. Okay. Is that clear for all of you? This concept is clear? If else, and we have even dealt with nested if else also. You can understand here itself I use nested if else. The outer else. In outer else, invalid bill statement, inner else. The second else has again multiple if else statements. So this will only execute when there is a valid bill. Invalid bill will have this message for valid bill amount, that is more than 0. I have again these many if else statements. So these are all nested inside which statement? Else block. So I can nest some if else inside if also, or I can put some criteria inside else also. It's up to you. But these are called as nested if else. This is outer if, outer else. That means when the bill is entered, I will check is it a valid bill or invalid bill. If it's an invalid bill, I'll come with this message, just one message. But if it's a valid bill, again, there is a lot of criteria to be tested. So inside else, again, I have more criteria. This is nested if else statements. Okay, is that clear for all of you? Is that clear or any doubts? Let us solve today some programs, realistic programs, and we'll try find out by tomorrow how much you understood. Start with your electricity bill only. You can take your bill today at your home and see at the back side of that bill. There will be some descriptions how to find the bill. Next is loops actually. These all syntaxes are given. Okay. Now loops. Loops is like iterations, repetition. Whenever we want to repeat something again and again, we have to go put that statement or block of logics inside a looping construct. So loops are nothing but whenever we want to repeat same thing again and again, we use some constructs called as looping constructs. And we have in Python only there is while and for loop. There is no do while in Python. So there's only simple while loop, for loop, and in for loops we have variations. We'll see that. And last one is nested for loops. Now, what is the main concept about loops? We will know first. Print Teclan for 10 times. For 10 times. So I'll start counting 1. I'll print Teclan. I'll print. Then I'll increase my count. That means now it is increased to 2. Again I'll try to print. This printing goes on right now. That means we have to do this repetition again and again till my count reaches to which number? Till count reaches to process. Obviously reaches the number 10. After 10 it should stop. So that means here the printing tech is mainly dependent on what exactly? The count variable. I want to print tech but how many times? Starting from which count? Till which count? These are my two important information. I have to start at 1, check is it less than or equal to 10. If it's less than or equal to 10, print this. But after that, we have to just go for which concept? Increasing. So mainly for loops, there are three important statements. Initialization, test expression, and an increment rule, which will decide how many times this task is going to get executed. So here I said I have to count from 1 till 10 by increment of plus 1. 1, 2, 3 till 10 we have to go on. So that means I have how many counts here totally? With this three criteria which is having how many counts? Total 10 counts. So as long as we are counting this 10 counts, what is happening on the screen is tech is printed 10 times. So these steps we say as looping steps right now. The first step in the loop is called as initialization step. Second is called as a test expression. Third is called as a statement of repetition.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Why can't we use true and false directly in while loop? Why is it considered as hard coding?
Where exactly? If and else? Okay.
While loop.
Okay, while loop. What is that? I didn't understand. Why? I didn't get you. What is that? Which
Right,
is
like while true, and then we start with if statements and all, right?
nothing like about if it's not mandatory, no? While. Just we write while and we put a condition here.
It is
Expression.
considered like it is taking, it is not testing, it is directly checking if it is true or false. That's all. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
testing by itself.
Yeah, when you write while true, it's like indefinite, it's an infinite loop, right? You're not putting a condition here, you're directly putting a boolean true.
Voice is
What?
not clear.
Oh, is it clear now? Okay. What is the logic behind if condition, if statement? We need an expression here. Evaluate the expression. The main concept is evaluation. Solve this expression. What is the answer? We have to check. 2 less than 3 evaluates 2. After evaluation only I'll get this answer. And based on this answer, we'll print this statement A or we'll print this statement B. That is mainly decision taking. So if I don't write an expression and if I directly write true, instead of 2 less than 3, if I directly mention true, how will be the output on the screen? Is it ever going to be B or it's always going to be A?
It's always going to be A.
So it's already mentioned like a statement. It's not a condition to check right. It's already mentioned that it's a true state. So it's like a
So
constant, no?
basically, by using Python in scientific analysis, in mass information systems and all,
Yeah.
basically scientists don't use true and false directly in their codes, right?
Nothing, never, never, none of the places will mention true. None of the places. Because
I'm
I
saying,
have to, nowhere, none of the places will mention true. True is like a condition. That means I said
so
you have to
we
print
don't
it.
use it that often, right? We have to mention an expression. We don't
Yes,
directly use
yes,
true and false most of the
yes.
time.
Most of the time we don't do. When will I use that while
Okay.
true? I'll tell you the scenario. Okay. I want to repeat. I just want to put something like infinitely. I want to repeat the process again and again unless somebody comes and breaks it down. I want to start a machine, like some device, and I want to start it. It should keep on running. How many? I didn't put some time setting for it. I said it should keep on running as long as I press the switch button. That means unless I stop, it should not stop. That means how many times it is printing? Did I mention it should print 100 times, 200, 1000? I didn't mention. It should continue constantly
Because
printing.
it's an indefinite loop, right?
Yeah, it is indefinite, but in that indefinite loop, I can put a condition to stop the loop. If some count reaches to 200, I can mention that. If it reaches to 200, come to a break. Or
Ma'am,
if
I'm just
user,
having a hard time understanding the while loop because I've already written codes in while, but I'm still not able to like have a
I,
clear picture about it.
I'll get that. I'll get that. Let me start with one by one. Then I'll whatever doubts you can put me. You can put me in your
Okay.
doubts in WhatsApp also. No issues. I'll solve. Okay. Main concept of while is what is like a condition. How we did in a if condition. And if this condition is true, the first statement will get executed. And that means there is no else part here as of now. I said same like if condition. What happened in the if condition? If the condition is true, the statement gets executed. If the condition is false, the statement will not execute. But how many times this condition is checked? How many times we'll check this condition? Just once, not more than that. For which keyword? If keyword. But if I replace this keyword with while, what happens right now? I should check this condition. If it is true, I should execute this. And again, again have to come back here and check this condition. Means as long as, not just once. The concept here is it is checked as long as it's true. Or we say it is checked again and again. Whenever it is true, it has to get execute this statement one. So once it has tested true, we have performed the statement one. Again, it should come back here because already it was true. Again, I'll execute the second time. So this process goes on. We have to test and execute, test and execute. So that means when can I get this kind of scenarios? When will it break? Now just put the condition here as less than or equal to 10. Is it true? Just take a condition. Is this condition true right now? The answer is true. So I just want to print the value of the script. I just want to print. After that, what I want to do after printing, I just want to increase the value by 1. I'm in the next count. Now the count value is right now 2. Again, let me check is it less than 2? Then not. 2 less than 10. So I'm going to check my values from which numbers till which number 10. Once the count crosses level 10, that means I checked, started my count at 1. I checked is it correct count or 1 is less than 10 is a true value. So what I have to perform on that? Print that value. 1 is printed. Then the count is changed to 2. Then do is check. I want to check this condition again and again. As long as it's true, I need to come again back to this next time. Check it and come back to this again. If it's true only, I will do execution of these and come back again at this point. Second time it's true, do it again and come back to this again. So it goes on from count 1, count 2, count 3. It goes on for all the counts which are less than or equal to 10. So once it reaches 10, I have a condition here is 10 is less than or equal to 10 is also true. Then also printing happens. After that count changes to which value? 11. Now when you come back to this condition, now the value here is 11. Is 11 less than or equal to 10? Is it true or false? So it becomes false at that time. And when it becomes false, we'll stop this process. This procedure of repetition will stop. That means, yeah. So the only concept in while is the condition. Whatever condition we have written, it should fail sometime. Sometime it should be false. So here I have written a condition in such a way that it will be true for how many times? It will be true for values from which values? 1 to 10. Till 10 it is true. But it will become false at which value? When the count changes to which value right now? 11 it becomes false. So I have given a termination point as 11. When as long as count is less than or equal to 10 it is true. But that means when it crosses 10 it's obviously wrong. So that means after 10 it will never run. It will stop immediately. Let me just take this execution here. I take a count. What is the count value right now? 1. So if I just write a if else condition, is it true or false right now? If is tested only once. If condition will be tested only once. Now is it true or is it false? Is it true or is it false? As of now. Will I get an? Is it a true condition? True. So what will happen if it is true? So what will happen when it is
It
true?
will print one then.
Yeah, 1. And after that, will the program continue or it will stop?
It will stop now.
Yeah, this is your output with if key. Now I'll do the same program with 1, but I'm using which keyword here? So while this like till it is true, as long as it is true. Now is it true right now for the first time? Check the condition. Is the condition true or false? I tested it for the first time. It's true. What is the output on the screen? 1 is printed.
It will print from
It
to
will
10 and then it will stop.
no, I didn't increase, you see. It goes on. Because I did not increment, I did not increase the value. I just started saying that C is 1 and
Yeah,
said check is it less than or equal to 10. But I never changed my value. My value was never changed. So that time it will go for infinite ones. If I just want 1 to 10, what I should do after printing C? I should increase its value so that it reaches sometime 10. I have to keep on increasing 1, 2, 3, then only I'll reach 10. Then only I'll become, I can print 1 to 10. Means the concept is it will execute only once. This will be tested. If it's true, it will print, it will increment, but again it will come here because it was true earlier. Second time it's true, so it will execute second. So how long it's true, that time these two statements will get executed. So 10 times definitely it is true. 11th time. 11th time C value was 11. So it becomes false and it stops the loop itself. Now no more execution. Means these two statements will execute as long as this is true. In other words, once it becomes false, it will stop execution. Now in this scenario, if I want to print 1 to 10 side by side, not like one below the other. So same program, I'm just writing a little change here. 1 while C less than or equal to 10, I want to print the value of C. But print function always ends with a slash. Means always it comes down automatically. New line character. So I have a keyword to represent or change the last character. So I will print C, but the last character I want to change it as a tab space, something like this. I can change it. Otherwise, it was a slash. After printing anything on the print function, it will print and cursor will go down to the next line because by default it has a new line character. So now I just change the print's last statement as tab space. So after printing C, it will give a tab space, not a new line. By this, my program will just print side by side. So whenever you want to replace the last new line character slash into something else, we can just mention this statement.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
I have a doubt here. You used end equals to backslash t. So
yeah.
that is a syntax or it's a keyword you use with a random
Keyword.
string there.
Yeah, keyword actually. This is the keyword only to change the last character. I want to change the default slash into something else. I can give a space also, or I can give a
So
star
slash
also
t
here.
is
Tab,
represents what, ma'am? Tab.
tab. So slash T slash B for backspace, slash N for slash new line character. Now you can see after printing the number it will replace with star. You can see that. So you can change anything at the end of the print. Means after printing we want to replace or we want to type star, not slash. Yeah. Any confusion in here? Now if I want to print 10 to 1, definitely I want to start from which number? 10. As long as my count number is more than or equal to 1. So I should go in reverse order now. 10 till which number? 1. So let me print that number and end should be changed with a space. I'll just give a space. And C should be reduced by C minus is equal to 1. Reducing. I cannot go plus 1. So just to get a countdown, starting from which number? 10. Initialization. What is the test expression? Check. Is it more than 1 or not? More than or equal to 1. Check. If it's true, print that number 10. Replace the slasher new line character with which character? Space character. And then change the count to 9. Now check. Is 9 more than or equal to 1? Yes. So all the numbers which are found more than or equal to 1 are printed. After 1, when it reaches to 0, 0 is not more than or equal to 1, it will stop. Is that clear? Any confusion with the while loop? Okay. Now my question here. Now you know the list concept or a string concept. I'm having technique. How will you print the first letter of this one? I want to print the first letter of the string. How should I do that? First letter. How do I print the first letter of the string?
Ma'am, S1 and square bracket 0.
Yes. How do I print the second letter?
S1 square bracket 2.
1. So that means, do you find some similarity here? If I say print all letters separated by a star or a hyphen, I want to print this thing in this manner. The string is already given, but I want to print in this manner. How will I do this? Can I use the loops for
Take
printing right now?
index equals to 0 and we'll keep incrementing it by 1.
Yes. So 0 while I is less than which index?
Minus 1.
Okay, let us see whether it will work or not. Let us see.
I'm not sure if minus 1 will
Yeah,
work.
yeah. You should only understand now. Because you started from which number? You did. You started from which
Yeah.
number? I'll be going
0.
on no, increasing. Will it ever reach minus 1 now? Can the number be
No.
less than minus 1? No.
Okay, we can take less than length of this string variable.
Yes, yes. So let us take a string first. So we know that it should go to the last index. While printing last letter, we will use minus 1. Now for indexes, we will not take minus 1. It starts from 0. While
I uh, I less than uh, length of S1.
Yeah. What should I print here?
Index of S of I, S of I.
S1 of
I'm
I.
sorry, S1 times square basis I, right? I'm sorry.
And I wanted a hyphen no at every letter. After the letter, I wanted a hyphen symbol. Is a hyphen symbol. And we should not forget this. If I don't do this, it will go for always printing TO infinite times. T. So I should go to the next index. If I don't increase the index, I'll stay at the 0th index. Okay, is that clear or any confusion? All of you? So while loop is not a confusion. While is a very simple concept. Now I'll teach a new loop which is there in Python. While loop is easy. There's one more loop called as for in loop. Now to print each character present in a string or a list or any complex structure or a tuple etc. I can use this for each letter in S2. I can just say that in so letter is like a temporary variable. I'm just taking like a temporary variable. And how will I assign the value for this temporary? Can you assign the value from which variable? S1. Starting from which index? 0 onwards. It will automatically take 0 onwards till the length of the string. And it will go on plus 1 index. Means what we mentioned in the while loop manual. I is 0, I less than length of the string, I plus 1. I don't have to mention these three scenarios. I'm skipping this. In for in loop, automatically system will check. You give a string to it will pick up the first letter of it. From which index? 0. Takes that letter and stores in which variable? This is the reference to it, a temporary reference. This variable is only used for this for loop. After this for loop, there is no such variable. Its scope is very much limited. I cannot use this 10 outside the for. So here, the main thing is I'm printing the temporary value. How did we get this value of the temporary? From the string. It will give one by one. So first I got the first letter of the string. It is stored in this variable. And then we got print. After that what happens? I plus 4 increases to the next index. Now S1's second letter is stored in which variable? 10. Now 10 gets the second value. Now 10 is stored. So this is automatically iterating on its own instead of writing this one in while. In while loop we have to do like this. While I less than length of S1. We have to mention this one in while loop. And we have to write print of S1 of I and all these things like a complex code. And instead of that, we can reduce this extra code, unnecessary coding there. This initialization we don't have to do. Condition we don't have to write. We don't have to do the increment. So three important steps. It is only finding out. But the drawback in for in loop is for in loop can only traverse in forward directions, but not reverse order, not backward directions. Okay, that means your while loop can do, unlike the while loop, unlike the while. So while loop can traverse both forward and backward. We have seen that. We can print 1 to 10. 1 to 10 can be printed and 10 to 1 can be printed using for. Sorry, using while. Or what is that? Can I didn't see. What is that? If is not a loop actually.
I meant that if loop can also be used for both increment and decrement.
If is not at all a loop. If is not at all a loop. If is just a conditional decision making control.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If it's not a loop.
If
Loop
condition.
means yeah, if it's just a condition to be tested once. It's not a repetition. It's not at all a loop. It's not repetition, no? As it's not a repetition. It's only done once. So it's not a repetition. Loops, while keyword, for keyword are used iterations, repetitions. So if you want to repeat something, we have to use this concept. If you have to do something only once, go for if condition. If you want to check something and do it again and again, you have to go for loops. Clear, Patrick? I'll give you a lot of examples otherwise, Gayatri. Those who have learned in our institute, at least they know that concepts. So I will directly give
Actually,
you
college mein they used to say for loop, if loop, so I got used to it. I'm sorry.
not about you, actually, not of students say this sentences. So for me, no, it will be like wrong statement. I will immediately correct that. It is not a loop.
Yeah, yeah.
It
But
is not.
I also did that, but I continuously started like 4 saal college mein they used to say for, if I started using it again.
Not only you, working people say it, loop. Many people say that actually. So loop word is repetition. Repetition is linked with while, for loop, do while in other languages. In Python we don't have do. Okay. Okay. Let me say. So this main point, what you have to find the difference in for in loop and while loop is for in is only used for forward direction. For in can only traverse in forward direction. So if I want to print name in forward, first letter to last letter, I can do that. But I cannot do that for reverse of the string. Okay, let us see. So I can just use for in loop to print Tekla in forward direction, but not in reverse direction. But I can use while loop can print it in reverse direction also. In the reverse also. Okay, let us see. So how do I check that now? If I have a string right now, already have a string. That I want to print forward direction using for. For I can take any variable. I can take 10. But better thing is I am just printing each letter now. I'll give a name of the variable as customized for letters found in which variable string. So in is a keyword here. For in it's also called for each in other languages. For each loop. Here it is for in keyword, so we are calling it as for in. For each letter found in which variable? S1. I'm just telling the system to just print that letter. You want to give a space after printing? You can just give a space as usual. Because loop is all about repetition. So what we are repeating, this sentence we are repeating from the first letter till the last letter. We are printing each letter from the beginning till the last by separating a space in the. So I did not mention index. I did not mention the condition. I did not mention an increment, but it has done. Right? Same thing if it's a list is there. I can use that for the list also. Okay, there are some values in the list. I want to print each value in this list. So I can use my for loop. So I can take any variable. I can say for values, for each value present in the list, I can just print the value. Now, there is no space. It is a slash n. By default, when I say print something, it will print and go to the next line. So if I don't want this, what I have to say? Take the for loop and just separate the end character with change the last letter from slash n to something else. You give a tab or whatever you like inside this symbol. Yeah. But can I print this in reverse order? To print in reverse order, I have to use a while loop only. Length of the while minus 1. I want to go from last index. While I greater than or equal to 0, print the B at which index? I index, and we can separate. Always we can print the last sentence, last letter of the whatever it is. And we should not forget to reduce the value. Because I, in the while loop, everything is important. String also we can do the same. This is a string. I want to print in reverse order. So start from which index? Length of the string minus 1 index, because last index is not length. Length minus 1 index. I have to go as long as while I index is more than or equal to which index? 0. We need to just print that string at which index? I index, and you can change the end with a tab also, or you can separate with a star or whatever you want. Whatever you put inside the single quotes, it will come out. And now we should not forget to decrement the value. Now, we forgot that, we will take it. Clear? Any confusion? So for reverse order, only way is loops, while loops. But for forward direction, which is easy? Should I go this manner? Is this better? Is this better? Or the foreign loop is better? Because it's a simple one. There's no increments, nothing. There's so much complication. It's like clumsy. Instead of that, I have said I can take any variable or each b in each b in the s1 or each c. Better thing is like how we read in English now. Each character found in s1. I just want to bring a character and separate at the end with a star symbol. So I just put a star symbol. So we'll get that star symbol. Okay. Any confusion till here? You can take any information. Now just think that in basket, I've taken a basket full of fruits. Okay. How will I print that each fruit present in this basket? I want to print all the fruits present in this basket. How will I do that?
We
What
can
should it
write fruit basket and print.
fruit found inside the I just gave us spelling mistake. I have to just print it. So it becomes very simple, no? It doesn't look like a complicated sentence. You can understand. Here, whatever it may be, you can just customize. Is that clear? Any confusion? Now, so that means we have learned two loops. One is while loop, one is for loop. Now, I'll teach you the third one is for loop with range function. So, there is a function, predefined function called range. Range function should be given with three values: lower limit, upper limit, and change the value. Just like the three steps in your loops. What did we use in the loops? C is equal to 1, C less than or equal to 10, and we have mentioned C plus is equal to. These three sentences are important. So, if you call this function and you mention all these three values, what is the starting value of the count? Without variables I'm mentioning here. Starting value of the count is 1. 1 till which value? I want to include even 10. So I have to mention a limit upper than that. 1 till less than that. As if I am saying here, less than that. I want to start from 1, stop at which number? 11. Means count from 1 till less than 11. And what should be the increment on it? These three are the numbers we require. So range function will generate a series of values starting from which number? 1 to 11 automatically. Internally it will take a variable, take that variable with which value? 1, and It will check is it less than 11 or not. If it's true, then what you do? So range function is only generating series of value one by one. So like for in loop, we have said that previously in the for in loop, what did we do? This is also for in loop, but B in S. What happens with that? What is V storing? V stores the value or the letter of S1 at which index? 0, 1 onwards, 0 onwards, all the letters, 1 or 1 by. Clear? So that means it is not storing index, it is storing the data itself. So we stores the letters of S1 starting from 0 onwards or 1 by 1, not all of it, but not index value, but not the index of the letters. Okay? But in this range function, what is range function generating? Whatever values I set here, 1 comma 1, it generates the integer values. Integers starting from 1 till
Mention
11 by an increment of 1 of
okay,
1.
that's an increment.
Yeah, that is an increment. So
Okay.
it is nothing but we can use this. We can use these numbers for represent the indexes. So that's the reason I am saying not for I in range. Like it's very easy now. I want the values of I from which range? Starting from 1 to 11 plus 1. And I want to just print I. What will happen right now? It will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till which number? 10. So it is just giving these numbers to you. I can use these numbers. Now these numbers are stored in which variable? I. I can print it. But instead of printing, can I use for string right now? For I in range of 0 onwards till length of S1, right? And which increment? Plus 4. Now you can understand what is the numbers here. 0 to less length of the string. And increment is plus 4. What I want to print here, I want to use this I like an index. I want to print S1's letters found in which index? What is my I value? Starting from what? 0. S1 of 0, S1 of 1. I can print it. So that means by this what happens? All the letters of S1 are printed one by one in forward direction. Now if I want to print in reverse direction, what I should say? For I in range of, from where we have to say length of S1 minus 1 from last index till which index? I cannot say 0 because this is excluded. So I should say minus 1 because this is not included, this is excluded. So now from the length of the string till greater than which number? Greater than minus 1. So like we said, no, C is equal to 1, sorry, C is equal to 10, C greater than or equal to 0 we say. Or can we say greater than minus 1? So I say from length of the string. Is it okay? So I'm starting from length of the string minus 1 and till which index? Till greater than which number? Minus 1. So it will stop at 0. What I have to do here? So these three expressions I can just mention here. Length of S1 minus 1 till minus 1 and we have to go plus 1 or minus 1. Now if I print I, what we're going to get is just the negative numbers starting from the in Teclan we have 9 characters. So we'll say only the indexes are right. But instead of that, if I say print S1 of I, what will be printed here? Teclan in the reverse order. The letters is the reverse of the operator. Okay, is that clear? So that means I'm able to use range function to count forward or backwards. So tomorrow I'll discuss all the details about range function. Today I just mentioned that you mentioned three values inside that. Whatever you mentioned, it should be the correct order. Means if I said 1 to 10, it should be either 1 to 10 and 1. Or else if you said 10, we should give a lesser number and we should say minus 1 is given. Here it is plus 1. That means increment. So when I'm going in forward, always go for an increment of values. When I'm going in backward direction, always go for a decrement of values. Is that clear? So then range will give you the series of values in that range, what you mentioned in the brackets. That values we can use it for any representation. Let us do a lot of programs with loops. Tomorrow we'll do a lot of programs on this concept. But a basic clarity you got it. While loop, for in loop, and for loop with range. Tomorrow I'll give more concepts on range. All of you are okay? Yeah, Gayatri, I want to like okay, let me finish the class, I'll call you. Any other doubts still here from today's sessions? Are you clear with all the concepts? Okay.
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah, Ravi Teja, Chandrasekhar, all are clear? You can find the questions in assignments according to these chapters. I have made in such a way. Okay. You can start solving wherever you find doubt. Now you put me that question. Just give me that question. I'll solve it and give you the answer. Right? Okay. Thank you. 5, 6,